Over the last few decades, environmental and economic concerns over oil have been pressing issues in American society. These concerns have led to increased research in the areas of alternative fuels, such as biofuels. In America, corn ethanol is the primary biofuel, but do its costs and benefits outweigh those of oil or of any other alternative fuels? What can scientists and engineers do to make corn ethanol a more sustainable option? By considering the environmental impact along with the practicality of corn ethanol, and by considering its economic and social impacts, we hope to prompt discussion of practical and ethical issues that scientists and engineers, as well as the entire nation, face when meeting this challenge. The environmental and practical perspectives of corn ethanol have their problems. The amount of arable land isn't large enough to produce enough ethanol to fully replace our oil needs. Soil erosion and runoff from fertilizers can pollute watersheds and harm wildlife. Pesticides can harm the food chain and create resistant strains of pests. Irrigation can reduce the amount of water available for people and industry. Corn farming, shipping, and processing produce emissions. Also, ethanol is slightly corrosive and is water soluble, which can cause a lot of trouble during shipping and storage. But what if we develop and implement more efficient systems? Cover crops and vegetation buffers can combat erosion and absorb excess fertilizers. Polyculture can add nutrients to the soil and can aid in pest resistance. Smarter irrigation can sustain water supplies. More efficient farming, shipping, and processing techniques can decrease emissions. Improved materials and processes can inhibit ethanol corrosion and dilution. Additionally, genetic modification could produce larger, hardier, and more vigorous varieties of corn that convert starch to sugar, the first step in making ethanol. While corn ethanol might not replace oil completely, it could supplement a larger amount and lower environmental pollution. Of course, within these solutions, potential problems arise, some of which are issues related to science and engineering, and others are issues related to economics and society. Corn ethanol has been the leading biofuel in America primarily because of the existing and easily modifiable corn infrastructure. That being so, the many potentially costly solutions presented above could inhibit its idealistic future. Additionally, ethanol corn raises the price of food corn, which causes certain food manufacturers and livestock farms to lose money, lay off workers, and possibly have to shut down. Also, while government subsidies of corn grown for ethanol are designed to create more jobs, each job's going to cost taxpayers hundreds of thousands of dollars. Finally, the construction of ethanol production plants in your towns and cities can be an unwanted disturbance to the residents. Considering these economic and social issues, corn may not sound like a viable option. However, one must take into account the total economic and social situation, especially in comparison to gasoline. Domestic corn ethanol can help America reduce its dependence on foreign oil. Ethanol lowers the price of gasoline, and it extends the lifetime of oil reserves. The construction of ethanol production plants boosts the economy of the surrounding area. While the corn ethanol industry may decrease jobs in some industries, it will also create plenty of its own jobs. Additionally, while ethanol production plants may increase pollution in some areas, the subsequent reduction of oil drilling and of oil usage may decrease pollution around the world. In the end, corn ethanol, like any other fuel, has its pros and cons. But is it a viable means of energy? Is it ethical for scientists and engineers to continue to work on corn ethanol? And if so, what are the ethical issues that arise as they try to make it a more viable option? An interview from our professor sums up the issue well.
These are just choices that we have to make, coupled with all the other things, myriad of things that are going on in our environmental and social systems. Do they provide for people? Do they provide for a good lifestyle for people in a place that they want to live and where they could get food, water, and energy themselves? And does it create too many environmental problems somewhere else? Either problems in water, or problems in polluted soil, or problems in polluted atmosphere. These are choices that we're always going to make.
While searching for answers, we must analyze the net impact of corn ethanol from an environmental, economic, and social level. Only then can we determine whether or not corn ethanol is truly worth pursuing and how to pursue it.